Welcome to Against All Oddities, the podcast about three brothers coming to terms with the oddly true and the truthfully odd. It's spooky season, people, and everyone knows that spooky season is our favorite excuse to tell ghost stories and pretend our bad audio is actually spirit activity. On today's episode, each brother comes armed with a few paranormal tales, and we've stitched in real-life stories from listeners who swear they've seen beyond the veil. So grab a pumpkin beer, light a candle, grab a blanket, and maybe keep the lights on, because this episode isn't just about telling ghost stories, it's about inviting them in. This is Against All Oddities.
Anyway, do your thing.
Hey, happy Halloween episode. It's Spooktober. October Feast is over. We can't wait to talk about it. We're Against All Oddities, where we talk about the strange, the spooky, the parties, the costumes, the ghosts, and the stories about them. I'm youngest brother Tim.
Little brother Chris.
Nate.
Yeah, and that was an off-the-cuff opening that I didn't stumble once, and I'm really proud of it. Anyway, we're going to do some brief updates, and then we have some ghost stories for this spooky season, and then we're going to close out with Nate's October Feast, which, if you don't know about it, that means you didn't listen to last month's episode. Go back and check it out. That's all we talk about. And then there's some field recordings. I tried to get some interviews that were quasi-inebriated. We'll see how it works out. Anyway, Chris, what have you been up to?
I have two stories. One is I have forced myself back into CrossFit 3 times a week.
Nice.
Wow.
And a week ago, which is after the party, before I was about to leave for New York, I'm doing my Friday CrossFit session, which is like, I got to do these hang cleans, like 115 pounds. I got to do these burpees and box jumps. And then I got to run a bunch, and I got to do wall balls. First box jump, I just eat shit. I've heard that people say the most dangerous thing about CrossFit is box jumps.
All right, so hold on. When you say you ate shit, did you fall forward onto your face or backwards onto your neck?
Oh.
You got to imagine, if you've never been there, a giant plywood box that's 24 inches tall, and you are jumping with both feet at once and then landing on it. It's actually kind of hard to do if you haven't done that in a while. I hadn't done it since the spring. First go, and I'm with a partner too. Like, she's running while I'm doing all this stuff, and she comes back and we switch. Anyway, first go, I jump up. I'm dizzy because I just did all those hang cleans. I just did all these burpees. I jump up, my feet just like stop 6 inches before the top, which means you got nowhere to go. You can't go back down because your force is going up and on top. So if you go over, you just roll over the box. And all I know
face plant in the air.
I face planted the side of the plywood box, which meant my glasses broke in half, and then I had to scrape the side of my face off, bleeding all down the side of my face. I kind of black out for a second because I don't remember hitting the floor. I just remember seeing my feet not get over the top. Then I'm like, wake up on the floor. My shin is like split up the middle and is bleeding. Both my wrists are strained. I don't know how it happened, but I couldn't move my wrists. And
well, you caught yourself clearly, even though you were unconscious.
Myself. And the guy, the instructor came over, was like, "You all right?" And I was like, "I'm just gonna lie here for a second and just do a quick check over." And then he's like, "You good? You gotta go to the hospital."
You know, the CrossFit instructors get trained that if after 3 come on bros you don't respond, they have to nudge you with their foot, like, bro. Seriously, dude? Seriously, bro?
And then
I think we might need to call somebody.
I stood up and he's like, "All right, get to it." On the workout
like he defaulted to what he knows.
I couldn't do the burpees because I couldn't use my wrist. My wrist didn't move anymore, but I finished it off, and I was so broken the whole time. It was so sad.
So you were a corpse of a man bleeding with broken glasses, and he was like, you got to finish those burpees, bro."
He's like, no, he's more like, bro, I don't know what to do with you if you are gonna lie there. Or if you
Yeah,
finish." I was
bro.
like, I guess
This
I'll
is
just
waste of time.
But
You're
then
really harshing
afterwards,
the energy
people,
there.
I was talking to people like, did any of y'all see that? They're like, no, we just heard it. I was
Well,
like,
Chris,
I kind of want to
is
see
it
the
easier?
surveillance footage.
You know
Is
what's
it
funny?
easier to jump onto the box because you're 5'9" and weigh 135 pounds, so you're lighter to jump up?
You have different boxes. I had to keep doing the boxes, but they changed my box out to a soft box, which is a little easier.
I want a soft box for
The
sure.
one they
But-
use in the geriatrics.
I was so dejected after that, and then I had to go. Then I had to like go pick up.
Did they get you a
food.
special helmet to wear? Your CrossFit training helmet?
No, I mean, what was great about my glasses is they're plastic with metal, and they were just broken. Like it's clearly like just bent in a place they shouldn't have been. But anyway, so I did that.
Well, wait,
I-
Chris, before you go on to your second story, congrats on calling it CrossFit now. You spent 5 years calling it everything except CrossFit.
I know it is what it is. I mean,
What did you call it
uh,
before? What's it
radical
called?
honesty. I probably just called it my exercise routine.
That's what you did. You're like, I'm kind of doing this like hit
Weightlifting
training,
cardio
like in a
thing.
group or whatever. It's not
Like you
CrossFit,
hate
but,
yourself
like,
and your body, so you do hard things to it.
right. The first step is admitting it. So, and it's okay. It'll make you really strong, but it's really dangerous, which I feel like you're finding out.
Well,
Uh,
you know, I had a couple of friends. Well, Meredith had a couple of friends that quit. I was like, well, when I started, and I was like, what made them quit? And they're like, they got really injured. I was like, how? They're like, box jumps. Like,
that and the
and
kip
I will
ups
say,
that
when I
people
first
do,
started like 5 years ago, I almost wiped on a box jump, and this was at the New York office, not the one in Louisiana. And the instructor ran over. He's like, that is not what you want to do. Like, that is the most dangerous thing you can do.
you
here.
were the example.
And but I made it. But this time I just like just slow motion saw my little toes just stop like 1 inch short. But so the other thing I got was I got like a smartwatch for my Pixel, so I could start monitoring my health. I'm trying to get healthy.
Yeah. That's good.
And it's hilarious. The data it's giving me is insane. Takes everything from like blood oxygen levels to like it will buzz me when I'm starting to get too elevated of a pulse and to tell me to meditate because I'm starting to overstress. But it does very in-depth reviews of my sleep every night, and it's laughable. I was like,
Yeah.
apparently I average 3 hours a night.
That explains so much.
Do you have sleep apnea?
I probably do. I also pee a lot at night. I also have a 2-year-old that randomly wakes up and screams enough to wake me up. And like, but
How
like,
much
I got
brain
7
hours
hours
has
last night.
died?
But
you
I
get
was like, I
7
thought
hours
my
of
sleep was
sleep?
bad, but I didn't know it was that bad. It was like it gives you a score. It's like you have a 31% score
Out of 100?
Yeah, like you are sucking at sleeping. And I was like,
Yeah.
I feel seen though.
Getting sick a few weeks ago was great. That's the most I've slept in since I had the
I
flu
know. I remember
a
you're
year
like, I'm
ago.
gonna
Drink
sleep
all
for
that
8
NyQuil.
hours. And I was like,
Oh
you
yeah,
slept-
NyQuil. Oh, it's so sleepy. It's so good.
Nate, what's your update? Lost Tim.
Had the party and some success with the costumes. We could put some pictures up if you want. No one got Commando. I carried the log
How
around.
did no one get Commando?
I don't know. Everyone got Conan. Terminator was probably the fave because they started the motorcycle and had a toy shotgun I shot the kids with. And
Jack brought that home, by the way. That was the coolest thing he thought he had ever seen in his life. Because Nate didn't have batteries in it, but when you pump the shotgun, the shell shoots out the side. So it came with like 10 plastic shells, and Nate walked around pumping and just shooting these shotgun shells. And Jack full-fledged stopped, was in the corner, and Nate, this is maybe what you don't realize. How you create a core memory in a child that's standing in the garage in the shadows from the dark as you're getting off of a cool as hell Harley, wearing muscles and a leather jacket with a shotgun, walking around with a crowd of 50 people cheering you on and taking pictures and stuff. This kid has never seen Terminator, but as soon as you left, like you put the shotgun down, he picked it up like a holy relic and then found only one shell. And currently, he walks around daily with that shotgun, shooting that shell around. And he put batteries in it, so when you pull the trigger, it makes a shotgun noise. So it's.
I'm glad I could be there for him. You
I
know,
hope he turns into a professional skeet shooter or something, and he remembers that. But that was definitely like, that left a
it's a
pretty
lot of
lasting
fun.
impression.
I love it. It's fun. And then we always overbuild the
You overbuild the pinata.
pinata. Oh my
Oh
god,
yeah, it was very durable.
every year we do this. Ella made this year, and she extra did it, and I try to weaken it. Yeah, on sleep, Chris, I probably get 4 or 5 hours a night tops. So I'm definitely at 10 o'clock or whatever time it is. I'm at like 4% on brain. My battery level's like low.
Did Nate do the update? I had to get up to move the light. It was just in my face.
So it's not talk about parties, work all the time. I was sick a few weeks ago and got to sleep at least 2 nights. Nah, that was about it.
I thought I had more updates than that. Jackson D&D Club.
Wow.
That's cool.
He did his second one. It's the first year they offer it through middle school.
Wow.
And he and a couple of his core friend group are doing it, and they are all Harrigans, which are rabbit-sized humanoids, I guess. But they're all rabbits, I guess.
Like from Willow?
Yeah,
like the
it's like an
little
elf
guys?
rabbit, but they're all rabbits, and
Oh,
he's
they're rabbits.
he's the rabbit bard. And
Nice.
they
That's like
spent
extra weak, isn't it? Like the well,
Yeah, but you
like,
can't catch them.
No, here's the thing. It doesn't matter if you're a Harrigan or a barbarian, you got the same stats. And he's the bard, and he came home excited that he can cast low-level vicious mockery. He also found out that a bard
good
can
skill in
cast
life.
a low-level fireball too. So he's got the two things that he wants. Then the rest is all just like extra.
Like a bard, though, is casting like small airplane bottles of fireball, right? That's what the bard can cast.
Like a literal fireball.
Fireball,
Yeah, they
like
make
from the
tiny
7-Eleven.
Molotov cocktails out of fireball and throw them.
Yeah. It doesn't light on fire, but it's gross and cinnamony.
Yeah, Evelyn's still Evelyn. She did a few funny things recently. I can't think of anything example. Her art recently has been really fun. Like the Halloween art just matches. Like people would make shirts out of it, I think.
Oh, it looks great. Yeah, I think it's awesome.
But we all went to a wedding on a Monday, 50 minutes out of town that started at 4:45. And so I was like, right? Right?
I don't want anybody to go to my wedding.
It wasn't the most crowded, but I will say
Wednesday.
Yeah,
So
Wednesday at 2 p.m.
I had about 600
BYO lunch.
I had about 600 very like questionably negative comments to Alicia about this because it's a student of hers that works at the hospital now.
Oh, so they're like 16?
Yeah, so here's the thing. They are 22 and they paid for it themselves. Every single bit of it. The venue was gorgeous, and a Saturday is $25,000 and a Monday is $3,000. So they got married on Monday, and you know the food they had? A nacho bar.
No, by the way, awesome food.
Right. And they and it was
Like,
open
make the
bar.
people happy.
They didn't have liquor, but they had they had Twisted Tea, Coors, Bud Light, Yingling, and a few wines. So you know what? Good for them.
Hey,
I think they did all right for 22.
I
They're gonna
couldn't
work
buy
out
anything
great.
when I was 22, so
I couldn't. I don't even know. I didn't have a cell phone.
well, that's not really your fault.
And the only reason I ate burritos on a daily basis is because Dan Mills worked at a burrito shop, and so I could just go there and get them.
Yeah, I had roommates that worked at Einstein's Bagels.
And Chris. No, Chris working at the French place.
Jean-Jacques.
Chris would give me a quote cup of coffee that was filled with tomato basil and like $8 worth of fresh mozzarella. And like that's what I ate that day.
You
Because
gotta
I
be
went
broke.
to drink it. I legit thought it was coffee sometimes. It was like la, 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 la. And then like
I
it
made
stopped.
that soup. That soup was like $9 1,000 calories per cup.
Oh, you
It
could
was
tell
all
it was
heavy whipping cream.
it was all heavy whipping
Oh
cream.
yeah, I mean, people would come in and it's like, we love your tomato soup, Chris. Like, we're on a diet. We just have a soup and a piece of bread every day. I was like,
We keep
Yeah,
gaining.
I know. I weigh 500 pounds.
I
It's
literally
like-
the entire thing is like, it's
Well,
all
it's
heavy
like
whipping cream with
butter.
cheese and just enough tomatoes to make it not white.
Right. It was very pinkish, but like,
It's good. Boy.
boy. So anyway, I guess we should get to some ghost stories.
Just some spooky stuff.
I have a question
Yeah.
about cholesterol, Tim.
Oh, wait, we made coins. We need to talk about
Oh
that.
yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Email wizard@dorfu.com and tell us who had your favorite ghost story today, or from the pod, or just say that our podcast sucks, or
Give me a
if
coin.
if you say anything at all, if there's any context, and this is the important part, with an address that a coin can be mailed to, because that happened once
All
a
the
couple when we did the
coins, no one-
stickers and paranormal insurance stuff, and then that was back when we did social medias and we'd post like, yeah, if you want paranormal insurance, and every now and then you get a response and you'd be like, hey, what's your mailing address? And they're like, I don't feel comfortable giving that. I'm like, well, then you're not getting
Yeah.
anything.
Kind of an important part of the exchange of goods and services.
They actually also, I'm adding words. They never actually said that. They just did a no reply, like ghosted, like just kidding. But I will say, in a series of email exchanges with the "you didn't ask for this"
Mhm.
guys, I was like, y'all should get some paranormal insurance, and they responded. They're like, okay. And I was like, give me your address. They're like, please don't murder us.
I will say those dudes are funny as hell.
They are really.
I mean, not to just plug a podcast this early, but you didn't ask for this. Those two dudes are like, I almost want to have them on just because they're funnier than anyone else live. Like, they can just riff on whatever content you give them, and they're funny. Because they both hosted those Neatcast episodes where brought in, and I was like, damn it, these guys are funny.
You know, when I was talking to, anyway, I was on one of their episodes.
I listened to it. It was good.
All right. Anyway, Chris, what's up?
No, spooky. I think we should start with Nate's.
Oh yeah. We're starting
All right. So I went super abstract on this one, and there may have been a lot of prompting with Mr. PT. And it was mostly because last night, and which you should never do this, but if it's like 1 a.m. and you can't fall asleep, start looking at Instagram, and like whatever my feeds are always like into like stupid quantum new age stuff all the time, and
Yeah,
or
same.
about time or whatever,
Same.
right?
I can
So I
relate.
just get trapped in that cycle, and it's interesting.
There are
but
worse cycles.
Yeah. So this is Chris, it knows that we have a podcast. So it has a little microphone symbol, and this story is called The Needle of Now. And it said begin with
that's a cool name though.
Yeah, it says begin with a soft vinyl crackle, slow measured voice. So in the back you have to put the vinyl pops.
I will.
All right, so here goes. It's pretty. Oh, well, we'll see what happens. All right. So anyway, you think time moves forward, don't you? Second by second, tick by tick, a steady river carrying you away from your birth and towards your death. But what if that's not true? What if nothing moves at all? What if time is like a record, a vast vinyl disc, etched with every moment that ever was and ever will be? Your first breath, the laughter of somebody long gone, the final words you'll ever speak is all there. It was pressed forever into the grooves of existence. You are the needle. You hum across the surface, reading the vibration into music, stillness into story. You think you are moving forward, but you're just tracing the pattern that was always there. The song doesn't play because time passes. It plays because you do. When you sleep, if your mind slips, the record keeps spinning in the dark. Every possibility, every memory still vibrating just beneath the sound. Somewhere your childhood still glows, frozen in the warm hiss of the summer air. Somewhere else, the needle already scratches against the end, and maybe death isn't silent. Maybe it's the moment the stylus lifts, and you realize the record was never turning, you were.
Very Twilight.
Deep. Actually, that's really, really cool. And I hate that ChatGPT pointed that out, that how
Well,
good of a metaphor that is.
I came up with the metaphor, but GPT and I talked for a long time about what's a scary thing of having there is no past or future. Like, what's a good way to describe there is only now,
But
right?
that also
Because,
supports reincarnation, though, because death is lifting the needle off the record, and then you put a new record on, and then you start over
or
again. You're
you
the same
just
needle.
or you're just playing it, right? Like it could be playing infinite times in different periods. Or can you change what the record is
That's
like
what God
mid
is. God
play?
is the one listening to the record.
And then the ghost story is when you get a scratch in the record, and it's just
Black. Skip, skip,
Yeah, that's what an
skip,
echo is. Yeah.
skip, skip. Yeah, there you go. That's my kind of
spooky
abstract
story. No, it's
story.
good in a very against all oddities sort of way.
Again, Chris has a great positive spin on that. That is a
We
very
keep it
interesting
positive
ghost
here.
like.
I don't
Yeah, we're
I don't have
positive.
the
We're
energy to not be
positive
positive.
people.
Yes. So I have a couple stories. The first one, I wanted a story that wasn't a ghost story that was spooky, and I have a lot of ghost stories, like personal ghost stories, like you do too. I feel like all three of us have lived in haunted houses, and over the years of this podcast, we've all told those ghost stories. I have a ton of ghost stories. I've seen ghosts. I've lived in haunted houses, but I wanted something that was spooky, that felt more real, like something that I almost feel like had happened to me, but didn't actually happen to me. And I was listening to some older episodes on deep from the Patreon cut of Euphemet, which is a pretty good podcast. And I heard a story, so I'll just kind of retell that story because I think it felt really like close to something. It felt like one of my stories, but it wasn't. And so I thought there was something kind of uncanny about that, and it's nice and spooky in a non-traditional way.
So if you're to
Well,
retelling the story from Euphemet, though, will you talk about Euphemet for a second? Just
sure,
to
Euphemet's a podcast. It's real annoying. It's like this guy. It's like he was a radio. I mean, I take that back. I really liked Euphemet. It really got me through the bleak days of having a baby that didn't sleep, and I was just like had to stay up all night just listening to ghost stories. Um, but this is a story that was older. Like, and again, I'm a Patreon of that podcast, so I can hear the back catalog. So I don't mind telling the story because it's not like
you
our
paid for it.
listeners are gonna know this one. It's unless they're up in there too. But I think it was a good story, and it was told by someone our age, which I appreciate too. So this is a story about for a guy who's like in his 40s, and it was a story from his youth when he was like a middle schooler, like, you know, not quite can't drive yet, like 13, kind of like the perfect Stephen King years where you're riding a bike around in like late 80s, early 90s suburban.
Fighting clowns that live in the sewer.
Yeah, exactly. And so he lived in Pennsylvania, and he was hanging out with his best friend, and he grew up in this town that it was a decent sized town. They had 3 different high schools, and they were super clicky. So you did not hang out with the other high schools. You hung out with the people from your high school. And it was the weekend, and they were just kind of biking around town, and they saw a couple kids from this other high school, and they were really bored, and they were the same age, and so they decided to go up to them and just like say, hey, what are you guys doing? Like, they were just kind of bored. So they go up to these 3 kids who were also sitting around with their bikes, same age, and everyone was a little off on edge about it, like, we don't really talk to each other, but they were kind of bored too. So they're like, well, what do you guys do? And they're like, oh, I know what we should do. We should show them the base, the military base. And they're like, okay, cool. Where is it? He's like, well, it's like just outside of town. We're going to ride our bikes there. We're going to get on. There's a trailhead, and it's a bunker. They called it the bunker underground. And so they're like, oh, cool. Yeah, we don't know. We've never heard about that. I'd love to see it. So the 5 of them go on this bike ride, and I might get some of these things wrong, like maybe there are 6 of them, it doesn't matter. So they get on their bikes, they go outside of town, they find this trail, they're walking on the trail. There's not that much woods in the city, but this area, there was a small trail, and they find there's a hole in the ground, and it was really dark, and there's a ladder going down, and so they could kind of look down in there, but it was really dark. It's just just in the middle of the trail. And they're like, ooh, that's kind of spooky. And so the 3 kids from the other high school was like, yeah, we come here on the weekends. It's kind of fun. So they go down first, and then he and his friend go down, and it's a real sketchy fucking ladder, and it's about 15 feet deep. And they go down, and they get down, and it's just like a shaft of light from above going into this pitch blackness. They couldn't see anything, and there's this table with these candles that had been like soaking wet with rain because the rain just comes in through the hole that they climbed down. And they're like, it was so scary because it was so dark with its earthen floor that was packed real hard. And then these 3 kids kind of start walking down a corridor. And he's like, you couldn't even see. It was so dark, you could just barely see. You could just barely see the frame of a door. And so they followed the kids through that door. And then what they thought was dark was even more dark. And they're like, this is scary as hell. Because now there's nothing. And they don't have flashlights. He said he had like a match. He like lit the match just to look around, and he had like 3 of them. And there was nothing there. It was just like empty barracks, like underground. And then they went through another chamber. It was even darker. And they didn't really do anything. They just kind of like quietly wandered around in the dark down there. And then at some point, they're like, okay, you guys want to go? And they're like, yeah, okay, this is really cool. Like, whoa, so I wonder what this used to be for. So they all turn around and they start leaving. He gets to the ladder, and he swears as they're climbing up the ladder, there's 3 more kids with him. And he just assumed maybe they were friends. It wasn't like a ghost. They were like tangibly real. And he was like, they're coming up the ladder. Like, they must be friends with these other high school kids, and they were already down there, and just no one really confusing. So the 5 kids went in, and 8 kids left. And when they get up, it was just the 5 of them. And he didn't say anything. And he and his friends were like, thanks for showing us. And they left, and they just rode their bikes home in silence. And they got home. His friend's like, this sounds crazy, but I saw 3 more kids leave with us. He's like, holy shit, so did I. And they just sat there in silence. They're like, we got to go back. So then they turn on their bike because they're like, that was so cool. And they go back to the trailhead. They can't find the hole anymore. Like, it's completely gone. And they don't it doesn't make any sense because it wasn't even that hard to find. And they're like, this is the most crazy thing we've ever done. And so the next weekend, they see the same 3 kids, and they're like, oh, let's go like ask them to show us again. And they go over there, and the kids are almost like trying to fight them. They're like, we don't know who you are. Like, we've never seen you before. Like, what the fuck are you talking about? Like, what's a bunker? Like, we have not. And he was saying, like, this sounds crazy, and if they're pulling a fast one on us, they are the best 14-year-old actors that have ever existed, because like, they were about to fight us because they didn't like us talking to them. They didn't know who we were. They had no idea what we were talking about either. And he said it's later in life, it always haunted him. And even as a 30-year-old, when like Google Maps came around, he looks for it. He's never been able to find it. And even he had a girlfriend later in his like 30s, and they went back to the town just to find the hole, and they couldn't find it. But I really like, and that's the story. But I really like the idea of the underground and just having this kind of slip for a second where like more kids came out than went in. It's like kind of a House of Leaves sort of thing. And this idea that like maybe they like jumped timelines or something. Like there's something that happened while they're in this kind of liminal space that they lost track of time. Or like they kind of weren't part of time anymore. And when they came back, they were kind of on a different timeline.
It reminds me of your Catacomb movie you suggested.
Oh, the
As Above, So Below.
As Above, So Below, which is a pretty good, decent, like fake reality TV movie. But yeah, I think I've always been interested in the underground, and it just kind of feels like that's a story I've told, but it's not one I know of. So I thought that was kind of spooky.
Yeah, that is spooky. It's also, it reminded me that we were talking about this recently. In the 5th grade, we buried a time capsule as a class, and we never dug it up. And that was 31 years ago.
You should go dig it up.
I tried. Nobody knows where it is. I reached out years ago to see if any of the kids from that class remembered. Nobody remembers exactly where it was buried, but it was at Raleigh Court, and I go there kind of sometimes. We park there because Jack runs on the PH track, and I was like, I swear there's a flag up by this parking deck, and that's where it is gone. So it's
like, it kind of reminds me of the time slip episode that we did, like where the people are like walking and it
Oh
just
yeah, and
suddenly
then
feels
a second
weird,
later
and
they
it's like this is the wrong century, you
yeah.
know. And then you just it slips back and it never happens again. Or like you're in London, you go into a store and it's like the wrong.
But it also involved real kids, so it was like the universe shift, not like just a timeline
Yeah,
thing, but like the
but
reality shift
he
or
was like, what
jump or
if that
whatever you
was
call it.
us, or what if it was like layers, like it was like the same three kids twice or something. So if he went down there with three kids and they saw six leave, it's like two different versions of the same three kids leaving. And I thought that was pretty cool. And so I guess my next story, next story involves me playing audio.
Excellent.
And it will require me to also give you a little bit of background. And just to do the opposite of a plug for a podcast, man, I am so over Mysterious Universe guys. Those dudes, I just want to like strangle them half the time. They're so close-minded. There's everything's a demon. Nothing is interesting. They hate podcasting. They've been podcasting for 17 years.
Well, they're giving it up, right?
They're giving it up, and
They're
Well,
looking for the
they're
next
gonna have
guys,
a
right?
yeah, but they're gonna do another normal podcast, which seems more like a little.
yeah, which I won't listen to. Those dudes suck. I mean, like I knew we had like kind of different political belief systems, and that's fine because what I like about them is they read every kind of garbage book on Amazon. Or
Oh, I like the ones where they start laughing, like the lady kept leprechaun kept following her around and having sex with her all over
yeah.
the world or whatever. They couldn't get through the whole episode because it was so terrible. They kept just breaking down laughing when they kept going to.
That's what I like them for is they don't have another job. They just sit there and read all the stuff on Amazon, which was like first-hand paranormal accounts.
Public
Like,
self-published. Yeah.
yeah, and that's what they're kind of specialize in is first-hand accounts. So like I'm not going to read those books, but so they read it for you. So it's kind of interesting there, but their take on it is so jaded and so annoying. Like they're just over it. They're like they're like it's anyway. I'm very annoyed with them. Like there's this whole but anyway. So they were talking about this book that they read, and it sounded really cool to me because I really like the guy. But it's called Otto Ron Grail Hunter: The Secret of the Cathars and the Return of the White Lady. And it was written by this guy named Richard Stanley. Richard Stanley, I like.
They're all about the white lady right now.
I know. Well, no, they hate the white lady because they're in their words, the white lady like makes you gay and like an environmentalist. That's literally their take.
It's great. They don't. I like, but I like how they take Chris Bledsoe seriously, but they don't like the white lady he talks about.
Yeah,
Yeah,
but
they like
Chris
she likes.
Bledsoe,
But
yeah,
that
he
just
claimed
shows
to
their
have met
thing.
her.
They like Chris Bledsoe because he has like he's he's from North Carolina. He kind of he's he grew up a Baptist. He's very Baptist, but like they're like, oh, he's into the white lady too, and she's just making him gay too. Like I mean, it's
They're
literally,
anti-human because they say the white lady's anti-human because most of it is about like reducing the environmental harm,
yeah,
population,
exactly.
that
Their
kind of
whole
thing.
thing is like, oh yeah, it's all bullshit demons pretending to be ladies, making us less into humans by caring about the environment. Because all the messages like you need to care about the environment. They're like, fuck that, like that makes you gay. Like literally, that's what they say.
That's Mysterious Universes.
Yes,
Yeah,
it's
but
annoying as hell.
I don't care how tongue in cheek it is either.
Well, I
But
mean, also everything's a demon. They're just like demon,
yeah.
and they're just over it. I don't care. I can listen to a lot of people, but I just get it's just so short-sighted. They're like, oh, well, if that's divinity and the divinity is expressing something sad, that's impossible because the divine can't know sadness. I was like, well, that doesn't make any sense. Like, that seems like really restrictive. But anyway,
They're moving on to their
digress.
political careers. Yeah.
They brought up this book called Otto Ron Grail Hunter: The Secrets of the Cathars and the Return of the Right Lady. It sounded really cool. It was written by this guy named Richard Stanley, who I really like. Tim, you know who Richard Stanley is because you've seen A Color Out of Space.
Oh, right.
right? So he's a director. He directed The Island of Dr. Monroe. Maru, you remember?
Moreau.
Yeah. Let me pull him up. His Wikipedia up. But did you guys ever see the documentary about the making of The Island of Dr. Monroe?
Moreau. When
The 90s
wait,
one?
when did that movie come out? Because I remember it being huge when it came out, and then
Well,
I
his
saw it
Marlon
and I was
Brando. It was
like, I don't
1996.
understand this.
It's
That means I
Maru.
was
It's not
13.
Monroe. It's Maru. MORE.
It did
That's what I was saying.
awesome in the theaters, from what I remember.
I saw it in the theater probably with you, Chris, not David.
No,
He
it was terrible. Yeah, did not do well.
It was really bad. Okay, so here's what's really,
1996.
this is
yeah.
the backstory of this guy who I really like. Hold on, let me look up this. Okay, so you know the movie. It's got like
Val Kilmer.
Val Kilmer. It's got Marlon Brando. It's got like these big names. It was this huge budget, and it flopped. And it wasn't as bad as I think people said it was. But
Oh, I
so
like
the
it, but
original
I
director of that movie was Richard Stanley. Richard Stanley is from New Zealand. He was a young kind of arty filmmaker. He did a couple really cool short movies. Hold on, let me get his Wikipedia up real quick. His filmography. He did like this sci-fi movie called Hardware in 1990. People were saying like, oh, this guy is going to be a next big director. But he was young. He's from New Zealand. They give him like billions of dollars, and they put him with Marlon Brando and Val Kilmer, like these notorious big stars. And he was fired.
Val Kilmer 1996 was peak Val Kilmer.
Yeah, he was A-list for sure.
So he was fired 2 weeks in because he could not control Brando and Val Kilmer, and they brought in this really boring director to kind of finish it. So there's a documentary. It's really good. I recommend it. It's called Lost Soul: The Doomed Journey of Richard Stanley's Island of Dr. Monroe, because it follows. He was so like destroyed by Val Kilmer and Marlon Brando, and like, but the cast all liked him other than them, so he kept sneaking back on the set as an actor. And like, anyway, it's this cursed film
because he could hide as like a turtle man or something.
And like, I mean, they're crazy. The stories about it are hilarious. It's like Marlon Brando is like insisting on having the most smallest person in the world as his best friend because he was obsessed with this little guy.
Yeah,
like,
I remember that in the movie.
Yeah. And like Val Kilmer's like putting cigarettes out on the old director, like. But anyway, hilarious movie. But that movie destroyed him, right? He stopped filmmaking. He just disappeared, and he lives in a castle in the middle of like southern France now. But he kind of came back to filmmaking to do The Color Out of Space. I kind of like the cut of this guy's jib. Like after watching the documentary, like he's just a weirdo who got handed a huge project. But so the book is his book. He wrote this book because he was in the UK, like Channel 4 asked him to make a book. To make a TV show. There was something kind of like the real Temple of Doom or something. It was a success, so they wanted to do a TV show called The Real Raiders of the Lost Ark. And so he's like, what do you mean? He's like, I want you to follow this ex-Nazi occultist who was trying to find the Holy Grail. And he was like, okay, whatever. And so that's when he was in his disappearance phase. He kind of went on this 10-year-long adventure, and he got obsessed with it, diving into this story of this like Nazi relic hunter who got, and he goes into the Cathar religion, which is in southern France. You know the Crusades. There was only one crusade that ever happened on Europe. It happened in southern France, where the Pope sent the entire crusading army to Europe to wipe out a complete genocide of this like new religion that was popping up in southern France that like was super progressive, was very witchcraft based, and like had kind of a matriarchal slant to it that did not respect the church, and they wiped them out, just destroyed it, killed every single one of them. And there's this castle, which is where Richard Stanley lives now, I think. But there's this castle which was built by the last of this religion as a last stand against the crusading army as they came, and they were coming in, they were just killing everyone, and it was one of those things that was like,
When was this?
the Cathar Crusades. Let me tell you,
The 1280s.
1209.
Okay.
So this is like early 13th century. They had this strong castle they built, and the crusading armies came, and the expression "kill them all and let God sort them out," that came from the Pope's leaders. Were they just killed everyone? They killed everyone in every town. They're like, yeah, but there's lots of Christians here. They're like, oh, God knows which ones are the Christians. We'll just kill everyone. They killed
They'll go to
everyone.
heaven. Don't worry about it.
Yeah, exactly. And then the crusading army was given a card that says, whatever you do, you're going to go to heaven, so you can be as bad as you want. And they tortured, they decapitated, they would make one person live and like bring all the decapitated heads to the next town so that they would flee, and then they would kill them. It was really bad. And actually a good portion of the book is just about the genocide of this people, which was like a prosperous, wealthy, progressive society that was getting constructed, but they didn't respect the church.
Don't
so
piss off the Catholic
so they had to
Church.
get destroyed, and they were fundamentally destroyed. But the last stand was at this castle, and it was something like 20,000 Cathars were killed, and they were told, we'll let you live after the siege ended. It took forever, but the rumors were the Holy Grail was stored there. And it's kind of a Dan Brown situation. Like the Grail wasn't really a cup, but it's Satan's crown. It's actually a really interesting historical story. But they had the siege, and when the siege was over, they're like, we'll kill you all and burn you at the stake unless you repent and become Christian, and we'll let you walk out. And they didn't. They all chose to get burned. And there was this great burning of like 2,000 women, children, men in the fields before the castle, in these tar fields. They just killed them all the time. So anyway, that's its own scary story. In fact, though, re-listening to the book, and he's a really good writer, and very historical, very intelligent, I think he has a history degree. You really feel for these people. Like they didn't want this. They were really trying to do what was right, and they got destroyed for it.
They got Vlad the Impaler.
Exactly, which is why I can't really ever be like, I'm Catholic, because it's hard to like make that shit right. I mean, it's bad. When you hear the firsthand accounts, you're like, that's bad. Like,
yeah, but it's a different pope now.
No,
it's not even the Pope.
No, it's just
religion.
like, it's about the history. Like I can't separate the history of it. And
Go to the early parts of Christianity on all the different versions of Christianity.
Yeah.
Whether it's Gnostic or if it's more of a matriarch or whatever, right?
The Cathars were very Gnostic. Like they believed in the demiurge and like the god, but they had like this high priestess kind of goddess, white lady goddess kind of figure that looked after them and reincarnated. But anyway, so there's two ghost stories from this. I'm going to play you the audio of him reading the final one. The first ghost story was his first night on the job. So he's like, all right, I'm going to do this for the BBC Channel 4. It was supposed to be a small gig. It turned into a 10-year obsession where he has parts of this magic.
Does he have family French money or something? Like, how's he?
No, he's not French. He's New Zealand. In fact, him speaking French poorly is a big part of this book, because he's like trying to navigate France, and like a lot of them are like related to Nazis, and like he's trying to like trick them into letting.
Can you imagine our Pope now, the guy from Chicago or whatever,
who is like kill them all, and like
somebody's like, yeah, we're from the Flat Earth Society, and he's like,
unfortunately, the Flat Earth Society is probably coming after the Round Earthers.
I know. But anyway, so there's two ghost stories. The first one I'll just tell really quick, because it was like early on, and this is what they touched on in Mysterious Universe, but then they didn't talk about the rest of it. But his girlfriend, his other guy, go to this castle, and it's a really intense castle. It's really cool. It's like up on the mountain. It's built to defend itself against a crusade. So it's a really intense castle, and they're the only ones there. And the third guy that was with him was like, I'm not going. This is weird. I feel weird about this. I'm not going. So it's just him and his girlfriend at the time. And they like, it gets crazy. And like where all the people were burned, they start things start happening really weird. All this ball lightning started happening. It was like midnight, and they had to take shelter from all the lightning into the castle. And during the storm, it was like terrifying storm with ball lightning, and they're just huddled up behind the ramparts of this castle, and they start seeing these hooded figures like in the courtyard. Like, that's weird. And they start getting really freaked out, and then the storm kind of passes, and then they're leaving, and his girlfriend gets possessed and starts writhing on the ground, and like he has to like carry her home, and then she like has no memory of the entire night. And he like didn't believe in ghosts, but he's like, okay, that was next level. And so the story, the mysterious the mysterious universe people are like, this is such a good story. Like, it's worth the read just for that first night. But he goes on this amazing adventure that includes tracking down like the missing SS castle, the German SS castle, to like he like breaks into it to like see if they can find. It's like a Dan Brown book, but it's real life, except there's no money, and that they're thinking that the Holy Grail is actually this meteorite that is made out of a weird metal, and if you rub them together, it turns into blood, which is, it actually happens. They say it has something to do with oxidization. But he says if you put the blood from these meteorites on anything that's sick, it fixes. Like his mom had ocular cancer, and her eyes were bulging out of her head, and she had several weeks to live. And he's like, well, it won't hurt to try it. So he rubs his like magical rocks, which he found inside the keep, and this rust liquid goes in her eyes, and she was fully had no cancer a week later. Like, it's like crazy
where are these
shit.
rocks at then? Yeah,
then people keep trying to steal his rocks, like weird government officials.
His Nazi rocks.
his weird Grail rocks. But anyway, so I'm gonna play the very end of this book, and it's a long book. 10 years of this adventure, and he's like obsessed with this religion.
Hold on. Spoiler alert for the end of the book, because it's like
well, it's not, the book is such a good book. Like, you could even like skip the crusade part. He actually says that in the book. He's like, I'm going to go into a deep dive into the Cathar religion. If you know what that is, just skip it. It's like long. Like, if you know about the crusades, like, you can get to the adventure. But he goes into a deep dive into the history of the religion. It's a fascinating religion, and like how it started and how it got wiped off the planet. And it kind of goes to show that it went underground. When the Crusades went to loot the castle, all their treasures were gone. So during the siege, they would sneak it out, including. So anyway, it's a really long mystery. I'm not going to go into it here because it's a 40-hour audiobook. So
that's like, a lot of audiobook.
I mean, I don't actually know how.
That's some Stephen King level audiobook.
It did take me a while to get through it. It might not have been that long, but the chapters,
it felt like it.
It's quite long. I imagine it's at least 20 hours. I can look it up. But so the final, and this doesn't really give anything away because the book is really about the adventure, not really the ending. He finally goes back. The castle is really interesting because on the solstices, the sun lines up with the window slits in the thing, and it makes the entire inside of the castle glow red. Nice. With blood, and like people travel to the castle for these sites just for those days because it's like,
what's the castle called? Does it have a name?
The Castle of Montsegur. Montsegur.
And when does it turn red like blood?
The solstices, the sunlight comes in and refracts around the thing, and it's very special. And he goes there on that day, and he has like a run-in with neo-Nazis that were also going there on their own like weird mission. It's kind of a fascinating story. But anyway, so the end of the book, and this is the part I'm going to play, he takes a different girlfriend to the castle at night. He like basically has been exploring this castle for a decade. Like, he slept there like a million times. Like, it's just part of his life now. And he goes there not on a solstice, but on a lunar eclipse, on a full moon lunar eclipse. And something really weird happens on the other side of the castle slips, and where he is approached by a woman that walks through the wall. And it's such a profound religious experience that he quit everything and he moves there and is now dedicated the rest of his life to this religion and this castle, because it was that profound of a thing. So I'm going to play 5 minutes of him talking about that moment of when he finally sees the lady in white, which is this central figure of the Cather story, right? So let me just play it really quick. Hopefully you'll hear it.
Before you play it, Iron Maiden does have a song about this.
Our wall of the chamber.
Can you hear this?
Perfect beam of silvery luminescence, splitting the dark. Look at the moon. Ruby was pointing, and we both stood as if turned to stone, seeing the rim of the moon darkened by a crimson penumbra, the shadow of the world spreading like a stain across its face. I stared, gaping, feeling the short hair rise on the back of my neck. Just then, the wind changed direction. The night breeze that had been whirling down from the Pic de Saint-Barthélemy only moments before lulled, and I felt an incongruously warm wind gust against my face that seemed to be blowing from out of the tower itself. I took a step toward the source of the wind, catching a sweet, half-familiar smell, an intoxicating blend of wet grass and rose bay, a faint hint of almonds. At that moment, all the cows in the fields beneath the castle began to low at once, and I paused, remembering the sounds I'd heard on the night of the storm. I glanced back, nervously meeting Ruby's eyes. The sound of the cattle was so outlandish she began to giggle, only to fall silent as we heard the crunch of footsteps approaching from what seemed like the direction of the courtyard. "Someone's coming," whispered Ruby. At first, I thought it was a stray tourist and waited for them to step around the corner of the tower. Yet, no figure appeared on the narrow wooden stairway, and the path below remained utterly silent. What's the matter with me? I thought. Over the past 10 years, I had spent countless nights on this mountain without the faintest shadow of disquiet, but now I felt my skin prickling. I turned, seeing a pale shape before me in the gloom, and realized to my astonishment there was a young woman standing only a few feet away from us on the far side of the chamber. I narrowed my eyes, but it wasn't a trick of the light, and she wasn't a ghost. She was a living, flesh and blood human being. At first, I tried to tell myself she was some kind of Wiccan priestess whom we had inadvertently surprised in the midst of a secret nocturnal ritual. But then I remembered there was only one entrance to the chamber, and no way this figure could have climbed those wooden steps or gotten past Ruby and myself. My mind reeled as I tried to come to terms with the fact that the woman who stood before us had seemingly just stepped through solid rock, as if the wall of the tower room wasn't really there. No, I wasn't stoned, nor am I much of a drinker. I could see her long red hair, haloed in the luminescence pouring through the embrasure, and otherworldly incandescence edged with pink or violet. Her tresses were worked into what appeared to be 3 long braids swept back from her high forehead, and her proud, aristocratic face, muscular limbs, and pale, statuesque torso seemed to glow as if sculpted from living moonlight. I recalled the stories about how the castle's defenders, the sons and daughters of Belisama, or the children of Luna, were said to have smeared their skin with a phosphorescent pigment in order to throw terror into the hearts of the Christian crusaders. This was no mere war paint. The figure who stood before us in the north-facing tower of the Grail Castle seemed to glow from within, as if her very flesh were made of light, and about her shoulders she wore a mantle of shadows. Ruby trembled, placing one hand against the stone wall, her hair fluttering as the warm, unearthly wind eddied crazily about us, too stunned and frightened to move, the moment expanding effortlessly upon itself. I took a half step toward the glowing figure, my rational mind still putting up a struggle. I knew this place was capable of some pretty edgy natural phenomena. During the electrical storm, the twisting lightning bolts had resembled a huge fiery hand reaching into the keep, and I recalled feeling that same warm wind back then and catching that subtle familiar smell. In the summer of 1998, I had seen the tower's east-facing embrasure channel the first faint rays of the rising sun into sanguine beams that had drawn a weird shifting pattern on the walls of the chamber. If the castle's architects were capable of such almost superhuman ingenuity, then surely, I reasoned, the singular vertical slit that communicated with the courtyard might be capable of capturing and funneling the moonlight into some sort of three-dimensional hologram, channeling the wind even. Even if the woman who materialized before us had been a medieval hologram, it would have stretched credibility. But the figure that strode out of the shadows of the tower room as the moon went into eclipse on the night of August 27th, 2007, had weight and mass, and I heard the loose pebbles crunch on the flagstones beneath her feet as she approached. I took off my hat and bowed, instinctively placing one hand to my chest, thumb at right angles to my palm. I think I was too afraid at first to meet her gaze, but as she narrowed the gap between us, I dimly recognized her regalia. Those high calfskin boots, the curious braided belt or girdle crisscrossed about her pale midriff, the short sword or long knife that rode in its scabbard against her left thigh, and that hooded mantle that floated about her shoulders, seemed so deeply familiar, it was as if I had finally come home, to my senses. For a moment, our gaze met, the old certainties of my life in the 21st century crumbling around me as I realized who she was. The look she gave me was fathomless and immense. Standing before me was the proud, ferocious chatelaine of the castle, the immortal Nar Esclamonda, light of the world, the illegitimate daughter of Roger Ramon, the red-headed Count of Foix, a woman who was at once a creature of the flesh and a figure equated in popular tradition with the Queen of the Elves, a real human being and the living embodiment of magic, the avatar of an all-but-forgotten Ibero-Celtic warrior deity, or something even older. The force that had inhabited these mountains since the chilly winds of the Ice Age.
I'm going to leave it there.
Yeah, that was cool. That's crazy. He's a lot more poetic than I would have been like, I saw this woman wearing
Yeah,
a glowy shawl come through the wall, and I
Be
was
glowing,
like, what
scare me.
the fuck?
Lady with sword scare me.
Yeah, but you know how I make a story longer? Is instead of saying what the fuck, you go what the fuck.
You cut out.
I don't know how you, and maybe like ghosty apparitions like that are easier. Same thing, and I was listening to I think it was the last Mysterious Universe about the family driving down the longest stretch of highway and the aliens like or UFO got them or try to get them. But like if you like were sitting there and an alien like looked gray stepped around the corner and waved at you and been like, hey, like what would your reaction be? I'd like to think it'd be like, oh hey, you know, I
It would
hope
be
you
like
come in
so
peace.
banal. It'd be like, yeah, it
You
could
gotta
be like
match their
Wolfman.
energy.
I'd be like, hi. Like, because you just
Or it'd be like, oh my god, oh my god, oh my god, and just start throwing my laptop and everything at it. Get out of
No, I don't
here!
mind
I don't
immediately.
think so.
If
I
it
think
said
it'd just be
hey,
like,
you'd be
hey.
like, what's
No, but he
up?
said hey inside your head. He didn't like have a. He just has a mouselet.
Yeah.
Hey, hey, hey. But he's
I
saying
feel
that
like
with
we're all brain intuitive enough to just send that back, like match the energy with the
I'm also
like
open
brain
enough.
send it back,
I
like
think I'd
what's
be like, I'd try to
up?
meet him halfway.
Yeah,
But
like we're
anyway,
good,
I try
right?
to
What's
warn him
up?
about my dogs, is what I would do. I'd be
yeah,
like, Ozzy's about to come around the corner and eat the shit out of you. Like her
watch out.
start coddling you, you have got to back off, or
I
I'll
see
meet you
your
out front.
calfskin boots. He's gonna want to chew on those.
Well, he could probably
Yeah.
telepathic, because that's the thing about mind communication. You could talk to the animals too.
Really
You could just
quickly,
be
get
like,
pictures.
chill
There
out,
aren't that many
Ozaford.
cells to communicate with in my dogs.
Why is this dog the first that's resisting us?
It's like rattle, 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 rattle. Like Ruby's like, I'm gonna shake your skinny neck. Shake, shake, shake. Terrible.
So anyway,
But that's my thing
Chris's
is if
ghost
I
story
see
was
an alien. It was
One-
good. It was good. It
One
was
thing
good.
about that ghost story that Chris just shared is he is also has access to the most haunted castle in maybe the world if like 30,000 people died in the field.
Yeah.
And there was a leader among them that was powerful at magic and things like
No,
that.
they all were. The whole thing was like a magic. It was like, anyway. Obviously,
Right.
the guy can write. I find the writing, the reader, that the person reading it isn't the guy who wrote the book. It's
Yeah.
like the voice actor. But I found that book. I really recommend it. I thought it was just like beautifully written, like very, and like it's a real Indiana Jones adventure. Like it's crazy.
I like the stone tape theories of like moments preserved in an area, or Stephen King's haunted houses always are based on an energy that's left to echo and repeat forever.
Yeah,
Imagine
especially
20,000 people or
yeah.
that much of a thing. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, and it's like all in stone, and like they chose it. It's just like it's wild, and people now go there for it. It was supposed to wipe the religion off the map, but the one of the last guys that was killed by the Crusaders, he managed to survive the siege, and he ended up moving around. He had some power, and he ended up was I think he had like the talk to the Pope, and while he was talking to the Pope, they like got him and they executed him. But his last words were to the Pope were it was like, in 700 years your church will fall. It was like, and then he got his head chopped off,
Uh,
which is
hey,
now.
by the way, long time. If you start, even if you have a beginning of a religion, 700 years, pretty good run.
That's pretty good
Yeah,
run.
but it was this. It's this very famous curse that ends like in like 1940.
Yeah.
Now
Kinda
they're
good.
back
Yeah.
and better than
That's when
ever.
the Gnostic Gospels were discovered.
Yeah.
Um,
Well, these were Gnostic people too.
Yeah,
Anyway,
there it is.
Tim, you're up for some spooky stuff.
yeah,
That
but
we're
before I get
gonna
into
close
spooky
on
story,
our.
yeah, because we're pretty good at like self-help stuff, which I think we're actually excel at that. Because a lot of the self-help stuff, people are like, "Oh yeah, you got to be confident. I got to be brave. I got to take a deep breath. We need to meditate twice a day." I will say, like every now and then, we do this podcast, and I'm like, it's fun. I'm pretty proud that we have this to put out. It's pretty unique. And then just fast forward a year, every year or two, we get a random message. Most recently from Melissa Fagan of the Fagan family, Melissa and Corey and them, was like, "Hey, just a heads up, I've went and asked for a link to the YouTube thing that we talked about in the meditation thing, and she's been meditating, and then she had a high stress family situation, and she was like, I was the only one that was like fine with it. From the distance, I was like, they're being ridiculous. And she's really found a lot from meditation, and I think that's awesome.
Yeah.
It actually re-inspired me to make like I need to meditate twice a day, twice a day. I need to meditate.
I'm
Uh,
doing it. I didn't at the party, but I'm still doing it.
Yeah, so I'm better at that. And then recently, like Evelyn's had some big emotion, so I bought her this book, the my 8-year-old, The Boy, the Mole, the Fox, and the Horse. There's two of them. The second one is The Boy, the Mole, the Fox, the Horse, and the Storm. It's called Always Remember. It's a Charles McKesey or McCary. Chris,
Hmm.
if you don't have those for Rowan, you need to get them.
I know he has big feelings.
They also
The
have
Stillwater Buddhist series.
look
is
up
good.
the boy,
He watches Stillwater religiously.
That's
yeah,
a
the
show.
Boy, the
It
Mole, the
was a
Fox,
book.
We
and
have the
Horse.
books and the show.
But if you have Apple TV Plus, there's like a 40-minute short, Chris. You should watch it because a lot of it is like the horse is the sort of the father figure, and the mole likes cake and it's kind of funny, and the fox is quiet but has a
I think I
lot of
might have seen
self-doubt. Because they're like the mole is like, what do you want to be when you're grown? And the boy thinks about it, and he's like, kind. I want to be kind when I'm grown up, like stuff like that, or like
Nerd.
anyway. Outside of that, my ghost stories. I was gonna look up dog ghosts
Uh-huh.
because every dog I've had is sort of gone or dead, and I still see dude or in the shadow in the corner, and I'm like, dog. And one of the biggest ghost stories I've ever personally experienced was a dead Satchel coming back to say hi or to say goodbye or to like,
Oh.
check on me. So like, I looked up these dog stories, and briefly, if anybody wants to chat GPT them or look them up, they can, because that is not what I'm going to talk about. is there's Preston the boxer, the ghost of a boxer named Preston who watches over trick-or-treaters in Nashville, Tennessee. And according to legend, he saved a child from an oncoming car on Halloween night and disappeared after being hit by the vehicle. And ever since then, he's the dog that protects trick-or-treaters, which I think is
The
awesome.
boxer, the dog, not the fighter.
Correct.
Yeah.
And then Nate is seconds from bedtime, I think. We'll try to go quick. And the other one's the blue.
Okay, I'm staying up. Hold on. Oh, wait.
All right, hold on. The Blue Dog of Port Tobacco, and that's one out of Maryland, which is one of America's oldest ghost tales about a soldier and his loyal dog who were killed for their gold, but the dog's spirit is said to have scared away the robbers when they returned, and it watches over the master's riches. But anyway, my friend Heidi, who is a Bigfoot person and has listened to the podcast and is sort of open to hearing about or experiencing these things, or has experienced them. I was like, you know what? I bet she's got a ghost story. So I reached out to her, and she didn't just have a ghost story; she had some bangers. And so I'm going to share. I called her, and we had a decent conversation, like decent amount of conversation today. And so I was going to share some of her stories with her blessing. So I'll say Heidi is from Ohio and has her family house in Ohio, and her dad recently passed away. And so her and her sister were over there and sort of dealing with the estate and everything. And she said she brought home 1,000 lamps, which she said was a half of the lamps that he had. And then he put these like push button lamp things, like to get them on and off, because he liked them. It was almost like a touch sensitive or some sort of special button for the lamps.
Oh, where you touch the lamp like our grandparents had.
Yeah,
one,
like
where
you
you
just
touch
tap
the
it.
metal part.
And so when she was up there like fixing the estate and dealing with it, she said she went to bed and then like woke up and she was like, why is it so bright? Oh my God, whatever. And then it was early in the morning and the lamp was on.
Mm-hmm.
And so it came across as her dad was like, well, time to get up. Like, boop, like he turned the lamp on because it was off all night. There was nothing there. Nothing had changed it. So clearly the lamp. And she said like ever since he had passed, there were a few sort of sightings and experiences with him that which all seemed really wholesome to me. And she said that the family that bought the house, she said, don't paint the living room. Like whatever you do, or he's going to come by and be discontent about it. Like if he's hanging out, but she's gotten a lot of really positive like pictures and updates from the family. So that's good news. So the following stories that she told all take place in that house. The first one being that, which I think is the creepiest one, because she sent this to me in text message in a one-liner, and I was like, what the hell? She said this is in high school times, so 90s, and she had a best friend, and her best friend were sitting in her room on the floor. Her friend was leaning against her bed, and she was sitting across from her, and they're talking about this book that Heidi had read that was like Aliens Among Us, and she was like, I couldn't get through it. It was too scary. And then they were having this conversation and hanging out, and these two green hands came out from under the bed and wrapped around her friend, and her friend flipped out. She said she screamed and jumped, and Heidi screamed and jumped, and she said we went downstairs without even touching one of the stairs. And
That's weird.
I was like,
super
so
weird.
you saw the green hands? And she was like, yes. And my friend did too. They saw them together. And that was it for the green hand. But either way, that was the one that scared me. I was like, it was.
Yeah, that's scary. I'm just
Makes
like,
me think of Zelda, the hand that comes out to get you sometimes.
Oh, and the thing.
yes, the wall. Original Zelda.
Right. That one scared the shit out of me. Especially corroborated with the other stories.
Yeah.
The second, so she has a sister, and she said that her sister didn't tell her this until like 5 or 6 years ago. She saw a gray alien in the house.
What?
In the house. And then she
No
said, it was
thanks.
like, why didn't you tell me that? So at one point, maybe 5-6 years ago, Heidi was talking with her sister, and her sister was like, yeah, there's this one time when we were kids, I was a kid, I went upstairs, there's this long hallway with a window at the end of it, and she just went up the stairs and looked down, and there's a short, gray, alien-looking being just staring at her, and she was like scared to death, and the thing just sort of ran back and like went out the window, and then that was the whole experience, but she chose just
That's
not to
That's
tell anybody.
terrifying.
That's terrifying.
Right. Right. And it's the
Yeah.
same house
Alien
where at the
stuff is
same
scary.
like a couple years after that, she had the green hand grabbing thing from under same house. Same house. So here's an awesome one too, because Heidi so far has touched on aliens, touched on whatever the under the bed thing, a ghost story, and to wrap it up, this is a good one too, and I really appreciate her for sharing these. She said when she was a kid, she was terrified of Bigfoot, irrationally terrified.
That's interesting
Did
because
she watch
we were,
Harry and the Hendersons?
I don't know. I don't think
Well,
she
I
could.
mean,
at
if she was
that
in high
age.
school in the 90s, she's our age, so it's kind of
Yeah, she's
like,
our age. She's
Bigfoot was like a positive icon in the 80s, not a scary.
Terrifying.
Think Harry and the Hendersons, 1988, 89. Great
No,
movie.
she said it was bad enough that if anything came on TV or if there was a commercial for it and she knew it was like Bigfoot, like nope, she was out of the
See,
room.
that's telling in itself.
Right, and
That's
then,
what I mean, like, because the cultural zeitgeist was everyone kind of liked Bigfoot, like it was kind of like an American, like
They
culture.
still do. Like,
Yeah.
who's like really scared of Bigfoot? It's more like he's like Bigfoot for in the paranormal is
But
like
that's why I
the-
believe her more.
well,
because,
that's the thing too. And the reason she was terrified of Bigfoot was she had a recurring dream. She said she would have it again and again and again. It was like a lucid dream, the way she described it. And then I was desperate when she was telling me. I was like, "What's the dream? What was in the dream?" And then she said, before she told me what the dream was, she was like, "I was talking to my mom, and my mom was the one that said, maybe that wasn't a dream. If you're really that scared of it, and that's what it was, you know." So in this house, she was a little girl, and she was sitting on the front porch, and in this small town of Ohio, population like 600 or 700 or 900 or something like that.
What town? What
I don't
town?
know.
Got
I'd
a
have to
friend-
call and ask.
I'm in
her.
Ohio right the second. in a
I know.
small
That's what I'm
town.
telling you this, but it was tiny town.
So's mom.
But she said across from her house was a grocery store, and she was like, we were the cool kids because the top of the grocery store was a roller skating rink on the roof.
Yeah,
Which
man.
I thought was awesome. That
was
like
cool.
outside of Bigfoot stuff, it was awesome. And she said she was on the porch just hanging out, just looking around, and at the grocery store was this like tall, lanky Bigfoot. And she looked up across the street, and she made eye contact with the thing, and the thing looked right back at her, and it was just in broad daylight, the middle of nowhere, the thing just existing and them acknowledging each other's presence. And then like she freaked out and went inside, and then she said she dreamed about it again and again and again, and always, I mean, she's interested in Bigfoot now. She listens
See,
to all
to
the
me, that
podcasts and
still
stuff.
seems like a screen memory. You know, if you're having alien problems, sometimes you're like, yeah, I just like was driving on the road and this giant owl that's 5 feet tall just stood in the middle of the road.
You
And
think it
then-
fits with her
Yeah.
sister's alien experience? You know what it reminded me of?
Yeah.
For the listeners, Chris just nodded. But the woman that saw the mantis cryptid thing,
Mhm.
where she was just in her living room and looked up, and there was a mantis being with a white coat and an iPad, like doing stuff, and she started screaming, and he was like,
Yeah,
"Oh,
and it's
shit."
like, oh, you could see me. Oh shit.
Yeah, like
Let
it
me
was one of
face
those.
back out. Yeah.
Because it seems like if these things are always around, we just can't see them. That a child, or sometimes the veil is thin, and you just look up and you just see it, and you're like, what the fuck? And so if it really was like interdimensional Bigfoot just looking over and being like, I swear that kid's looking right at me.
Yeah. right.
yeah, I'm
It's
sure.
like that seems
That-
so real. Like what
Did you ever see Star Trek Voyager episodes ever?
No.
I didn't see many of them. I saw a few, but there's this one where they're all getting sick and having headaches and stuff, right? And
Yes, I do know
it's
this one. I think
yeah,
we've talked about it on the podcast before
yeah,
because
but it's
because
striking
I
to me.
remember grabbing the YouTube clip and playing it on our YouTube.
Yeah,
But yes, continue your
but it's
story.
no, but it's terrifying because these things were experimenting on the crew, but they're just out of phase with them. So the captain she was getting all these headaches. You just see a scientist like put needles in her ears and head and stuff, but it's out of phase, so she doesn't see them. They're not really there, but they kind of are experimenting. And so I feel like a lot of the Bigfoot stuff, and again, Bigfoots I think are like the Highland cows of the paranormal,
Yeah, totally.
like kind of Harry and the
Everyone loves
Hendersons.
them.
Yeah, or even if they're scared of them in the woods, if you saw the Harry and Hendersons guy, you'd be like, "Oh, I want to scratch your
Yeah.
fuzzy ears." But I feel like Tim's right, and it's like phasing it out, phasing in, like just something off a little bit. Maybe another record playing next to your record, and the stone
Yeah.
tape there, you get some of the music going back and forth.
Yeah, I feel like the alien stuff is scary. I'm not as scared about
Well,
ghosts.
it would be scary to see it, and that's where I'm like, what would I do? Because I feel like the three of us are probably like, and that's what it struck me. And although we were shitting on Mysterious Universe, they had a couple good points. Like, what do you do?
Yeah.
Like, if you see something and you freak the fuck out, right? Like, you're gonna freak out.
Well, that's
Like,
you'd
cause
have to be ready for it. And you'd
yeah,
have
it
to have
worked.
an intention based and reach out like telepathically or just
Well, that's
have
what
like
like
that
even like
thought.
when
Like
Nate
you'd
was
be
like,
prepared
"Oh,
for that.
you were scared of your sleep paralysis. Lean into it." I was like, "You're right. I gotta lean into it." Like
But it's hard to do it,
it is.
right? Like in dreaming or whatever. Although dreaming, lucid dreaming wise, it's not a problem, I guess. But
I mean, the
I
ghost
wonder.
stuff is different. I mean, whenever I've seen like ghost stuff and I'm like, "Oh my god, I'm actually seeing something," it doesn't feel like I freak out. Like it's not a freak out thing. It's more of a stupefaction in a
I
way.
was about to
Like
say because I
like
haven't seen as much as you, but thinking back on anything that
yeah,
I just
you're
can't
just kind of
explain,
like
you
you're just caught
stop to
off guard
finish
and you just
witnessing
it's
it.
kind of like a freezing thing. Not because you're scared, but just like it
Your
doesn't
process, it's a
compute.
process. Like
Yeah, it's like compute
the
computation
loading
isn't working.
screen is still there.
You're buffering. Yeah.
You're
Yeah, you're
buffering.
buffering.
Yeah, but alien stuff is more scary to me. I don't know why.
Well, you don't know it because you don't know what the danger is, and it's literally alien, right? Like alien to you. Like, am I in danger? What's going to happen? You don't know the intention.
Well,
What's the
there's just
situation?
no positive stories about aliens. I've never heard one. Even the ones
Mm,
like even the love and light, like
Well, the
alien
Bledsoe
people,
stuff, he's
their lives
positive
kind
about
of
it.
suck. They don't
he's
think it sucks.
he's scary, but I'm going to use your own thing against you. And
Okay.
like when I got the foot surgery, there's nothing but bad reviews on it. And you're like, no one's going to write if they had a good experience, they're going to write a good review.
Oh, that's
Yeah.
true.
But
There's
if
no
they have
good
a
Google
bad review,
reviews. No happy
yeah.
people puts a Google review.
No, no one's. You're not going to go talk about the plumber unless they did a shitty job, right? Like you're not going to be like, he really fixed it good.
Or he did
Overcharged
an
me just a
adequate
little bit.
job for the cost.
Yeah, I know. Like if it sucks is when you get upset and you say something. So maybe that's true with aliens. Although I think I would be scared. I don't know. We'll see.
Yeah. Maybe we should start wrapping it
Yeah,
up.
yeah,
So we're
we're
gonna end on
wrapping.
some live field recording ghost stories from Nate's party. There's about
So
20
let me
to 30 minutes
clarify.
of it.
I did not ask for ghost stories. So
No, we've been doing that the last couple of years.
yeah, and it's a lot of the same people. And so I walked around with a microphone at Nate's party. And then in the beginning, the kids were still awake. Nate set up a movie screen. It was awesome. He played the Goonies. 90% of the kids had never seen the Goonies before, so they were glued to that screen. It was a really good experience for them. Like my kids had a blast. I know all the kids they were sitting with. We had a ton of cousin turnout, which was a lot of fun.
Yeah.
Anyway, but let's play some, and I hope you all enjoy it. If you missed the party because you're lamos that didn't show up, then this is a second way to enjoy it. So, happy Halloween. This is our spooky episode.
Yeah, stick around after the outro music. We'll have some field recordings.
All right, October Feast. Talking to people. Round one. Jack, what are you currently watching?
Goonies
How do you feel about it?
is funny.
Why?
I don't know, it's just funny.
What's your favorite part so far?
I mean, the part when they used a car and he was on the baby bike and they flung him off. The guy who's Thanos.
And who's the other famous person you know from here?
I forgot his name, but he's in Lord of the Rings.
Sean Astin in the yellow coat. Does it feel like an 80s old movie that's 40 years old, or does it feel current?
Both.
Both? Is it still entertaining to today's youth?
Yeah.
So, thumbs up so far, or 2 thumbs up, or 2 thumbs down?
2 thumbs up.
That was Jack, age 11.
Both of my stories are Brown with the Deli stories. So the other one was, I used to work at the Brown with the Deli. I used to hang out with these guys. Like one of the guys, his name was Bob Young, and his uncle had an old house out in Boone's Mill, and it was basically the theory was that it was some old Civil War house, whatever. Anyway, people smoked in it, and the stories were that people would go in the house and get smoke blown in their face, and stuff would drag across the ground. And I was like, okay, whatever. Sounds stupid. Anyway, we're out there drinking one night, and everyone was in the kitchens where people usually, gather around, and literally something slid across the ground, in the other room, and slid and hit the drum set, and we all looked around, and everybody was there, and unless someone had came in from outside and did it, there was no one there. We went into the room, and there's nobody there, but could it have been explained? Maybe.
No.
But I never had any smoke blown in my face or anything, which I kind of wanted. But that's it. That's the only other dumb story I have. Dumb.
It's the morning of Oktoberfest and a stark reminder that Nate lives next to a high school. Here we go, getting started.
And on the next one. Wait, dude, she's such a What are you? I get your mind.
Kurt Russell from The Thing.
Did you tell Blaine?
Not yet, but at night I'm gonna put the hood up and it'll light up the cover of it. It's real. I grew it out just for the party.
That's not Nate's brother. He's just as silly as
I'm asking questions real quick. What's your name?
Evelyn.
How old are you?
8.
What movie are you watching?
I'm watching
Goonies.
Goonies.
What do you think about it?
I like it.
What do you like about it?
I like that it's funny, but I don't like that it has cuss words.
What's your favorite part?
Then he was explaining about how all the bad stuff he
When
done.
Chunk got interrogated, yes, that is probably one of the best parts. All right, what's your first name?
Mike,
Three-Eye Atlas, do you know what it is?
the comet. No, it's not a comet. It's like a interstellar object
Thing,
that's
right?
in the solar system
It
right
came
now.
out of our solar system and is currently behind our sun.
Right, but it is not the first, but maybe the third.
That's why it's three-eye. Yeah, it's the third.
interstellar object that we've detected while it is in our solar system.
Correct.
Which we only started to be able to do within the last 10 years.
All right. Why do you believe it's aliens and not a comet?
I believe everything is aliens.
Good
so
answer.
that's why
Good
I believe
answer.
3i Atlas is aliens.
Anyway, so there are weird stuff about it, right? Plus the course that it's taking. It passed by Mars. It's currently behind our sun. And it's going to leave again without ever hitting Mars. So people, that is like a conspiracy theory that it's a probe, like a satellite, just sort of checking us out.
Okay,
Do you think that's viable at all?
So I am not in a position to say whether the path of 3i Atlas is purely influenced by gravity or has other factors. So I can't, if you told me that 3i Atlas was going on like a curlicue past Jupiter and then it was going to do a loop around Saturn, I would be like, okay, great.
I appreciate your honesty
Amazing.
on that.
Thank you.
There's also like the tail wasn't normal, and a lot of the stuff it was emitting like CO2 and not the normal stuff, and the composition has a lot of nickel and other metals in it, which was a little surprising. So it just seems to be different than the others.
Well, I think as a species, humans are not to a point where we can say, oh, that shouldn't be happening from objects that are not even from this solar system.
Okay, how about for example, so the last one that passed, the interstellar object that came through our solar system and left, was Oumuamua.
That was the first one, right?
I thought that was the second. You could be right. I forgot the second one.
That one with like the weird long Hawaiian
it was cigar
name.
shaped.
Right.
Yeah.
That was the first interstellar object that we ever detected while it was in our solar system.
By accident. I think they found it by accident. Like somebody
Right,
from Hawaii,
right.
which is
we
why
were
it has
not
a Hawaiian
we were
name.
not even looking for that type of thing. We just realized, hey, this is not from our solar system.
That was spinning head over heels, like the.
I did hear
on
that
its
there
axis.
were some characteristics of that thing that aren't seen in other objects that we
and
detected.
one of them was as it was leaving the solar system, it usually slows down, but this one sped up, which is why everybody's like, "What just happened?"
All right. So it's got by some manner, other than natural physics, this thing gained velocity.
Or
that
maybe
we
by
cannot
natural
explain.
physics that we don't understand. Right?
Exactly. Precisely.
So that's why I guess you already said everything's alien, which kind of kills this question. But what would 3i Atlas have to do for you to say, "Oh shit, that's aliens"?
It would have to stop and change direction.
What if it just stopped?
If it just stopped, I'd be like, "Hey, whoa, come on, keep it going. People trying to get to work here. Come on." If it just stopped, I would be like, "Well, nothing that we know would explain that." But it is kind of interesting that we're like at the precipice of our ability to detect things, where like our knowledge has expanded to the point where we can say, this shouldn't be doing that. And there's a lot of things we don't understand, but out of everything we understand, this should not be happening.
So do you think like a lot of the interstellar objects we're finding is just because we can see them now?
Well, so when the first one dropped, I was, and some famous guy was like, well, this is aliens, obviously. I was like, okay, let's pause. This is the first one we've ever found while it's in our solar system. So let's not act like we know how that stuff acts, right? But now it seems like we're catching on to more and more, and we're able to build a body of knowledge. And soon we'll be able to say, okay, this is not how interstellar objects behave.
What if I told you the Harvard professor named Avi Loeb was the one that said this is probably aliens? It doesn't make sense.
That's the guy.
It's a woman.
All right, I'll just commit ritual
We can start over.
seppuku
Chris can edit this out. So how do you feel about Avi Loeb, the Harvard professor, saying it's like a 0.5% chance that it's actually natural?
I'm not interested in like somebody saying there's a percentage chance that what's natural versus unnatural.
What if I said this? Wait, that's not Lisa Loeb.
And I miss you. And I need
That's
you.
that's not Lisa Loeb though. What's the Loeb song?
And I want
She had the
you. You're getting the Michelle Branch mixed up with the
what's
Lisa Loeb.
What's the Loeb song?
The Lisa Loeb song is it's not like da 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 da.
No,
but
that's
it's
in my
there.
head now. It's ruined it.
All right, so
Now I can't turn this off.
you only say what you want
There
to.
it is. There it is.
And that's not like
3i
you only
Atlas
say
isn't
what you want
natural.
to.
It's an alien interstellar object.
Right.
Yeah, there it is. And you said it came into your solar system.
So, like, prior to looking at these things while they're in our solar system, our capacity to understand interstellar objects was limited to our ability to read their activity in the visual light spectrum, somewhat their X-ray, radio, other magnetic radiomagnetic spectrum activity.
Right.
And then maybe we could tell if there was gravity fluctuations going on. And all of that's very interesting. But I don't think it gives us enough of a basis to say, this isn't a rock, this is a spaceship.
All right, so I keep thinking of follow-up questions. How about if it was some sort of intellectual being? Who's that? It's a microphone. We're recording. I'll ask you the same question, or we can get into it. So 3i Atlas is the current topic. Let's say it comes into our solar system, it stops, it's aliens, and they say, "What? You know what? I think y'all are done." And then
my hope would be, okay, if an alien asked me, if an alien stopped, if 3i Atlas stopped over the state of Maryland and said, "You get one thing," all I would say is please. A, Lamar Jackson be healthy. B, all my enemies die like pigs in hell. C, just instantly, painlessly, give this planet back to the animals. No, suffering. Just delete all human beings instantly from existence.
Would that include turning human beings back into just basic primates?
No, all of it. No,
Just
everything higher than a chimp is just vaporized instantly. No pain, no suffering, no no longing, no regret. Just gone.
All right. That got real dark real fast. Follow-up question: do you have any jokes?
I do. Okay,
right.
A frog walks into a bank.
Yes.
And says, "I need a loan."
I hate this joke already. I know the punchline.
And he asks the loan officer. Her name is Miss Whack. She says, "Do you have any collateral for this loan?" And he says, "I have this pink elephant. I have this pink porcelain elephant." And so Miss Whack goes to her boss. He says, "This frog wants a loan, but all he's got is this pink porcelain elephant." And the loan officer's boss is on a first name basis, and her name's Patty. And he says, "This is a knick-knack, Patty Whack. Give that frog a loan."
Yeah, I hate that joke.
I hate you. I hate you,
My
Tim.
dad's been telling me that joke since I was 11, and it's not once that he stole the joke. Hello. Hey, what's your first name?
Alicia.
And what's your favorite part about Oktoberfest 2025?
Seeing family,
Be more specific.
seeing cousins and aunts and grandparents, and hanging out with Nate and Mary.
So you don't like hanging out with the other people that are here?
No, I don't. That's not true.
Do you know any jokes?
Not good ones. I'm better off the cuff.
How do you feel about the ability to astral project, where you take your consciousness and you can leave your body and travel anywhere in the world and just look at stuff or experience the world while your body's asleep, is real? You're able to do it whenever you want. What's the first thing you do?
I go back to Ireland.
It's not time travel. So
Why
would
can't I
you
just
would
go?
travel to
I would
Ireland?
travel to Ireland, back to it, because I've been there before with you on our honeymoon.
All right, that's me being 7 years deep. All right,
Okay.
so you're in Ireland. What are you doing?
I'd go back to Adair Manor, and
You know what's
All
funny
over.
is Adair Manor is probably haunted. So
yeah,
would you talk to the ghosts there?
yeah.
Why? What would you want to do there?
I don't know, just hang out.
All right, your spirit, your consciousness
Yeah.
has left your body. You're in Adair Manor right this second. What are you doing?
Snooping, looking. At
We'd still looking in the closet?
yeah, just look. They had a lot of places, nooks and crannies. Remember, we snuck around and
I mean, we
like
did.
fun.
We found their nooks and crannies. They had a lot of taxidermy.
Yeah.
We have pictures of that.
Yeah, I like to snoop some more.
Hidden.
Yeah.
There were foxes. There were a lot of. We went up these back staircases. We found a
Yeah.
lot of foxes.
Yeah, I do remember that. Like a ballroom or something, or an old dressing room. It was neat.
Yeah. Old paintings.
Yeah.
All right, you left Adair Manor. What's next?
Go down to one of those pubs, hang out with old ghosts.
In Ireland.
Yeah.
So your goal would be to astral project to hang out with Irish ghosts.
Okay, well, the only thing that's kind of weird, but I don't know if I'd like to do that without you.
Yeah,
This
you're
would
by
be kind
yourself.
of-
That's
yeah,
the thing.
that's
So
a
you have to
little
take that
scary.
into consideration.
That's a really tough question then. I just want to go back to Ireland. Can I go to Disney next? I don't know.
Disney, sure, why not?
Why not?
So experience Disney by watching
Yeah.
without participating.
Yep.
All right, follow-up question. You astral project and you're traveling to Disney and you accidentally end up in the ocean and you see that there's an advanced alien species in the ocean and they've been hiding there for 100,000 years and they're waiting for humans to die so they can take back over.
Okay.
And you go back into your body. How do you convince people that's real?
I wouldn't be able to.
How would you try?
I would draw a picture of my stick figures would work. They put me in a mental institution and the kids would have to visit me there. I know, I'm sad.
Okay, no, that's not bad.
Nobody would ever believe you would believe me. Chris and Nate would believe me.
I'm the one trying to convince you is why I'm asking you.
Oh, okay. Okay, well I believe you.
So all these UFOs and UAPs and things that people are saying are theories, conspiracy or whatnot.
Yeah.
That they're made to order for whatever job they have. That whatever advanced species that lives in the ocean or aliens have been here longer than us, which would make us the alien,
Yeah.
are creating these things to go do their specific tasks. So it doesn't matter if they wreck or do whatever because they just have one job anyway. And then if they get found out, it doesn't give us any information because they only have one job anyway. It's like finding a very specific screwdriver with a specific shape. You don't even know what it does. It's just, you know, it's a tool. Anyway, that
It's a child.
children are. We'll do it. Here we go. If you're Ella's friend. All right, what's your first name?
Bryson.
Aliens, yes or no?
No, probably not.
Ghosts, yes or no?
Probably not.
Bro.
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 No aliens? The house is no ghosts, no nothing? Paranormal something. What's the most?
Well, yeah, there's like a separate dimension. Yes.
Okay, interdimensional beings. Could they be ghosts or aliens? Would you buy that?
I would buy that, but I think that the human word to describe both of those things is insufficient.
You mean the human word of alien and ghosts are insufficient to describe what I'm trying to get at?
Yes.
What words would you use?
I think we agree on like there being a thing that's not a thing, but it is a thing.
But you're saying it's all interdimensional.
I think there's no way for us to interact with it in a meaningful way.
Can you expand on that?
Bro, electron microscopes can't see electrons. We don't know that electrons are real. Electrons are not real. And then an entire science is based on it. Chemistry is based on it.
So yes to ghosts is what you're saying.
Okay, well, I guess in a roundabout gay way, sure, yes.
Okay. I'll take that.
Yeah, that should be a fun one.
Jacob.
Electrons, yes or no?
Exist? Sure. Yeah.
whatever that means to you. Electrons, yes or no?
I love them.
You're still not answering, so it's a maybe.
Oh, it's a yes. Yeah. Yeah. If it's yes or no, yeah. Electrons, yes.
Wrong. How do you feel about ghosts?
I'm scared of them, but
So
I'm
they're
okay.
real. If you're scared of them, then there'd have to be a physical entity that they're threatening you, right?
I think I might be scared of a lot of shit that ain't real, but yeah.
What about where are you on aliens?
I mean, they're definitely out there.
Right? It's pretty big.
Obviously. I mean,
have you been keeping up with 3i Atlas?
No.
So, what if the aliens are joking around to try to increase the amount of loosh they can absorb off the human race?
Okay, wait, one question on this whole thing. Like the next galaxy is Andromeda, right? Like the closest one, like 149 million light years away, right?
Long way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so the vastness of the universe is an argument a reasonable argument for the existence of aliens. Like, it's so big, there's probably
There's
going
got
to
to be something. Yeah.
But functionally speaking, for us on the rock here that we inhabit, how could that mean anything to us or
Because-
our generations or
Well, they'll never be here.
our
of course.
species?
Yeah.
Well, it's gonna be it's 150 million light years away to the next closest galaxy. Functionally speaking, they don't exist.
But the galaxy's so big, like there's so much in the galaxy. Why we don't gotta go off galaxy.
At that point, we're just ghost hunting. It's
So
just
argument
a
being
matter
that-
of
But ghosts are real, so we're just hunting.
Our physical being though experiences linear time.
Yes.
What if they don't have linear time, so travel time doesn't matter? It's eliminated from the equation.
But you would have to justify to me that there is anything that I could see in my own world that would be an analog to that. Otherwise, again, we're ghost hunting.
Just
Well,
normal hunting.
That goes back to so ghosts being interdimensional.
Yes.
Would experience nonlinear time.
Does that, wait,
Like,
does that make ghost aliens?
But you would have to point to.
I mean, it could, yeah. So that's an argument too. Yeah,
we could be speaking about the same thing.
Yeah. So
but
same
our
with demons,
words-
same with angels,
yeah,
same with the ghosts, same with the aliens.
Our words have to like define
the others,
them in a
right?
way.
We could just call them the others.
Yeah.
But let's say they're on a plane of existence that we can't see, similar to infrared light that we know exists, right?
It
'Cause we
happens,
can
but
measure
we
it.
can't see it. Yep.
We just don't have the tools to measure these beings and where they're at.
Totally.
And let's say time is one of the things that they just don't care about. It doesn't affect them.
Agreed. What I would say is you would have to point to a thing like how we can measure infrared light.
Yeah.
Like we can measure that with instruments. You would have to point to a way to measure that phenomenon that you're talking about.
So you need the technology to prove that there's a spectrum of dimension.
Not to prove that there is, just to say that there is something that is missed.
I have one more bridge to this.
Yeah.
We just discussed this and we agreed, or I don't know if we agreed, but I personally believe anything that's magic is just undiscovered science, or that's something science has yet to discover. There's always a solution. So maybe there's not an alien in the terms that we don't have the instruments to conduct that science, but that's not to say that in the future we're not going to have those instruments.
Sure. Yes, it's like when we
Aliens
found
are magical.
when we found crude oil way back in the 1300s, the kings would just dump it in the rivers because they had no idea what to do with it. And then now we're refining it and it makes our cars go. So.
Taco Bell or Hardee's, the farts that are the worst.
What?
The ones that you don't hear.
It's Hardee's. That was the answer I was looking for.
We don't have parties out west.
I don't need either of those. I'm not familiar with either fart.
All right, hold on.
That's a fun thing.
Sorry, first name again.
Bryson.
Bryson, who believes in aliens and ghosts 100%.
Wait.
Forget about the last. Anyway, he has a ghost story. And you're up.
I remember one time I was like 8. I came downstairs. This was during a dream, but I didn't know that at the time. I came downstairs in my house and saw a man standing in my hallway towards my parents' house. He turns to me and it has the face of like one of those like Hawaiian like warrior masks kind of thing. Yeah, like one of those kind of things. It had a face that looked like that. And then I woke up, and every time when I was growing up, all the way till like I was 18, walking down that hallway, I would feel like a guy, a thing, like an angry guy there at that place all the time. Can't explain it, but I felt it.
So the energy in the hallway was not a pleasant one.
Yeah, it was some angry Hawaiian guy, no doubt.
And this was at your parents' house growing up?
Yep.
Do they still own that house?
My dad does. It was during our divorce, so maybe that had something to do with it, but...
Have you been back since you were a kid?
Oh, yeah, tons of times.
Do you still got that same feeling today?
No, No, but I'm like much more cynical now, so like maybe that has something to do.
Like you're not open to it?
No.
Because I was about to say you had the openness as a kid, and you picked up on those vibes.
I
like,
picked up
what
on the
would
vibe.
change? Why would cynicism take away the vibe?
The same reason that Christmas doesn't feel the same.
Cynicism or rationalism?
Bam. The same reason that Christmas doesn't feel the same. You remember how Christmas felt when you were 8?
I'd hate to tell you this, it still feels the same to me, bro.
No shit.
Magic's real, man.
Man, I want to believe you. I really do want to believe you.
The magic's real. You're just not receiving it. You're the one giving it.
And it feels just the same.
I
like
agree.
Creating magic is the same as experiencing magic.
No, that's
You
true
give and you
enough.
receive.
That's a broader idea. I like that idea. That's a good idea.
It is. So yeah, the magic of Christmas never goes away, and it doesn't matter your beliefs. I'd say that would also be true.
Do you know what I'm talking towards when I say that?
You mean with Christmas?
Yeah, like that.
Or just anything. I know the point you're trying to make.
Yeah. Okay.
I get it. I feel differently.
No. And I think you're right.
Because I feel like you can build your reality.
Yes.
Right? Based
You're
on your
right.
beliefs. And if you don't believe it, it's never going to be real.
No, that's true.
But
That's
if
true.
you walk into the woods, it's scary, right? Woods are scary.
Sure. Darkness.
But that's when the rational mind goes away.
Right.
So you can rationalize a ghost away in your house, but you can't rationalize the beast away in the woods. So, and to me, it's the same thing. So if you feel that vibe in the house and you feel that vibe in the woods, there's still this energy around you, and you just don't know what it is. And honestly, it doesn't matter. Sometimes.
Well, yeah. There's no science.
It doesn't change the experience, but you can try to define it. You can try to look into like, why is this energy here? There's
we
a
feel like we
Maori
need to
like
define
Hawaiian guy that got murdered in the house. You find out
right.
after the fact, and you're like, oh, it was right.
It all makes sense now.
Or a deer was staring you in the woods. Or, to me, they're both natural events. Like it's the same. It's just like the human experience, right?
Yeah.
Allegedly, if you hear a whistle in the woods in Appalachia, no, you didn't. What does that mean to you?
That's a great question. It's hard to say, right? I don't know how much credence I lend to that. I think it's a lot of a message towards children to be like wary of the woods, be afraid because there is scary shit out there.
Like just don't be lured in.
Yeah, don't be lured in, or maybe avoid like actual bear out there, you know what I mean? But it is interesting that that's kind of,
If
I don't know,
bear
stuck
could
around.
whistle, that would be terrifying.
Right, yeah, and not necessarily a whistle. Right, but it's like if you hear
That
something in the
would be
woods,
awesome.
don't go out because you might get lost and die. Right, but at the same time, Appalachia is full of ghost.
Can I tell you
stories and
one
mythology.
rumor of like where the whistle thing came from?
I would love to hear that. Yeah.
So people, and I guess the American society, the colonialization of America forever ago, like the 1700s and everything, but they're evolved into the people, the towns, the houses, things like that. But there were those that stayed in the caves, stayed in the Appalachian.
Okay.
And they never developed the same language as us, but they talked to what's that movie, The Deep, or whatever, where the cavers went down and they ran into like
The Descent?
The Descent. That's
Yeah.
what it was.
Yeah.
Yes, it's that.
Yeah.
Except maybe not quite as monstrous.
Yeah.
And so it's another human that just didn't grow up in our culture, in our human society. They grew up in the caves. So they can't talk. They don't have a language, but they can, like whistle.
That's an interesting theory.
And so that's sort of the thought is you hear a whistle, no you didn't, because it's one of them.
Yeah.
And, you're going to get caved if you follow the whistle, you know what I mean?
I like that story.
It's kind of scary too.
Yeah.
Because if you're in the woods and you hear something that sounds like a whistle, because a lot of birds or even animals or even, I don't know, cave people whistle, then, I mean, what are you going to do? Not just that suddenly you're not going to look, right?
Yeah, right. Yeah, I mean, the human urge is then to be like, what was that? Let me go check that out, Yeah.
Right.
And I guess that's kind of the thought I had is like, it's just in general, that's probably like, don't don't go exploring where you ought not to be, you know.